Hi class, the idea of this video is to show you how we can model a simple building that's a wee bit more complex than what you did in the previous video, which was really just modeling the outside shape of it. This time what we want to do is model the interior of the building. And so it's really up to you how complex you want to make this. You can keep it really simple. You can make it a whole flat or a whole house or whatever really. I don't mind terribly how complicated you make it. That's really up to you. And what it's for is, again, it's up to you. It could be an ideal bedroom or a living room or an apartment, or it could be like a little place that you could stay during isolation that you would be like your ideal place to go, or a garden room or something like that. Um, but what we're going to do is basically start with the principle of what we think of as a floor plan, which is imagining seeing the building from above, the layout of the different rooms or the different parts of the rooms. And then we're going to look at a couple of other things. So we'll start by drawing a floor plan, and then we'll kind of offset it to create a thickness. So an offset is basically copying the shape of the outside and then copying it inwards to make the shape of the inside. So we'll offset it to give ourselves a thickness for the wall. We'll use the push or pull tool, which is kind of like extrusion in Inventor, to make that three-dimensional, so that instead of just looking at it from above, the whole thing will actually be three-dimensional. Um, and then afterwards, we're going to learn a little bit about some options for how to put in doors and windows, how to use the paint bucket to apply colors to all the different things that we've put in here, and to also use the 3D warehouse to place components or that other people have already made. So I would first of all say, don't get anxious that you're going to have to model all this really complex stuff here. You really aren't. All you're going to do is model just the basic shape of the room, and you can import all of these that other people have made, and you can edit them and place them and recolor them and do whatever you want. So I would think that this tutorial is going to take two parts really. The first part is all around getting the shape of the building, and then after that we're going to look into a little bit more detail at how we would import these other things and edit them. So as usual, you need to go to the SketchUp free website, start modeling, and when you do that, SketchUp will open a new window for you. It's really important as well that as you're modeling, you do remember to save it, because it doesn't save automatically. So if something happens, you won't be able to get it back. So when we go into here, we can go create new, and we want to use a simple template in millimeters. That's really important because we're going to use a size here. That gives us our workspace here. The little model of a person is really actually quite useful because it helps us understand the proportions. That person is kind of life size. So when we model other things, we can use that as a reference to estimate whether we're making things a suitable sort of size for them to be realistic. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is over at the right-hand side, I'm going to click on the little views icon, and I'm going to change that to parallel projection. I'm not really going to go into why, but it will make things a little bit easier for us. Um, this allows us to choose some different views, so we can view this space from different angles. And you'll see that when I view from above, because it's a flat cutout of a person, we can't really see them, although we can kind of see their width from the line there. Incidentally, the shortcut to use the orbit tool to zoom around is O on your keyboard. So if you press that, it'll allow you to move around really quickly rather than having to go and select the tool here. Or if you're using a mouse, the middle scroll button on your mouse, if you click that down, that allows you to orbit around as well. So step one anyway, what we're going to do is we'll start with a nice simple shape for our building. So I'm going to change the view to this view from above. And what I want to do is try and make sure that the space of the room that I'm going to draw is appropriate for whatever I want it to be. So say we were going to make it into just like almost like a den. We'll keep it fairly simple here. Okay. Now, if we have done that, the next step is to make it three-dimensional. But the problem is if I use the push-pull tool, which instantly has the P key on the keyboard as the shortcut, or you can go over here to select it. If I drag that up, the problem is it is just a solid space. I don't have a hollow bit in the middle. So what I want to do, first of all, is offset that outside edge. And I can do that by using the offset tool, which we can find in here. It is also the short key F on the keyboard. So if we use the F button to get that, If I click an edge here and then drag, it will allow me to copy that edge and then place it inside. And that means that when I come to use my push-pull tool again, okay, I can select just that outside area. And also what's really helpful is as I'm using that tool, so if I click on the push-pull tool, I can then type in a number and you'll see down here the distance will come up. So I'm going to type in 2,400 millimeters, that's 2.4 meters. That's a fairly standard height for a ceiling. So there we go. We now have our box that could be our room. Now, if we wanted to make it a little bit more complex, we could go back to this stage here before we've um, done the offset, and we could add some other little areas in. So I'll make another little room that could be a little kitchen or a bathroom or something. And what I would want to do is delete this line here by using the rubber, so that this is all one profile before I do my offset. And that means that I'll get the whole shape offset rather than in different parts. So again, using my push-pull tool, I can drag that up, but that wouldn't give me a wall between the two areas. So if I wanted a wall, I would need to add in a little rectangle here just to create a wall and tidy it up because we want this all to be one continuous profile. Use my rubber tool here just to join that all together. It's a bit fiddly sometimes to get things, but get it there. There we go. Now when I use my offset tool, sorry, my push-pull tool, I'll take the whole thing. So we just remember that when we're dragging it up, click to drag up and type in the distance, hit enter on your keyboard. Cool. So we now have the shape of our room. As I said to you, it's up to you how you want to make your shape. You could even, if you wanted to, just use the line tool to draw the shape out on the ground, um, which is an alternative way of doing it. So you could just draw the shape, whatever you wanted it to be. And again, you can still use your offset tool, just as we did before. And you can still then just use your push-pull tool and type in your distance, 2400, to make your room however you want it to be. I would avoid making it too complex then, because it does cause some problems, which I'm not going to just now. So that's us done the first couple of steps, drawing the floor plan, offsetting the outline, and extruding it using the push-pull tool to a specific size. Now, if you then decide that you wanted actually to make a room a little bit bigger, it's quite easy to do that using the push and pull tool, because we can grab this surface here, drag it out. Obviously, that gives us a really thick wall, but if we then use the push and pull tool to push that surface out, we can extend that surface a little bit as well. So we can change the dimensions or the spaces that we've got by just pushing and pulling the walls as necessary to make it the way we want it to be. Next step is adding in some doors and windows. So you should have a rough idea of how to do that from the last time um, you were doing a tutorial. Here we're just going to use this straight on view here. That will allow us to draw the shape of the door, and it lets us see the person, so we've got a rough idea that the door is going to be big enough. And you can choose where you want to put your door. I'm just going to put it on this wall. And I'm also going to draw in some windows. So I'm going to put a window on this wall here. I'm going to put a little narrow kind of high up window there. And I think I'll put another window over on this wall here. I'll do for now. So having drawn the positions the windows on, we can't see through them. So we need to do a couple of things here. One of them is to use the push-pull tool. And what we're going to try and do here, it's easier to do this from a slight angle, because if you're looking at it straight on, it's hard to tell how far you've pushed or pulled it. So this is kind of a good view to use, something like this. And we're going to grab that and just push that shape back. Now, as you push it back, what you want to do is tell it how far it's to go back. One way to do that is to hover your mouse, see over this edge here that shows us the inside edge of the wall, just on the top there. And that will tell it how far it's to go back. So by clicking and dragging until we do that again here, we click and we drag, you'll either see it changing to this kind of half and half view where you can part see it and part not, that tells us we're in the right place as well. Or by just hovering over your mouse to the inside edge at the top of the wall, that will take it into the correct distance. Because if we don't do it far enough, what we'll end up with is something that kind of looks like a window. It doesn't go right through to the other side. So as I said, make sure you take it through the inside edge so that you get your full depth window or door. Now, if you want to keep things simple, if you're finding this quite complicated, that's fine. That'll do. You don't need to make it any more complex than that. You can just leave your windows and doors as openings that don't have anything in them. But if you do like to make things just right, I'm going to take a wee moment to show you how you can fill those doors and windows with a fill that makes them look a bit more realistic. So if we use the rectangle tool, we click bottom corner and top corner of the door. That kind of covers it with a really, it's basically a thin skin almost. It doesn't have any depth, but it gives us a surface that we can then add a render to. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go around all of our windows here. We're going to add that little skin on the outside that covers them up just for now. I'll not bother with the inside door, but you could do the same there. Now you can see that we've got those kind of skins added, but we can't see through them. So we're going to go and now use the paint bucket tool, which has the shortcut B for bucket. And we're going to look for some appropriate materials. So we're going to look in here, first of all, for, I'm going to look for brick cladding and siding, and I'm going to use one of these kind of wooden boards for the door. Do that on the outside and the inside. So it looks right. And then we'll do it with looking for some glass here. So let's just have a wee look around. Glass and mirrors. We want this one here, which is translucent. So if we use that, we can click on these surfaces and you'll see that they now kind of look like glass. They've got that sort of bluish color to them. So that's how we would take it a step further with making it realistic. And as a slight continuation to that, now would be a good time to choose any colors for your floors and walls and so on. So on the outside, we could maybe use one of these options for brick. And we just go around using our paint bucket, coloring those surfaces. I think I might make part of mine look like it's in kind of wood cladding, so I'll do that on this one here. There we go. And then on the inside, we can choose for our floors and walls. So on the inside, we can look for tile for the bathroom. Let's find some nice tiles here. Just use these ones here on the wall. There we go. So I'm just going to tile the bathroom with those. And maybe some different color tiles on the floor. And in this room here, again, we could maybe choose, actually, if we go from the brick and cladding, there's probably an option here that looks like floorboards, so we'll do that there. And if we use a color, we can use that to paint the windows, or paint the walls, should I say. So I'm just going to choose a kind of a nice light blue color here. And do maybe a contrasting wall in a kind of a orangey color there. There we go. It's like a bit of an iron brew house, but never mind. So at that stage, you have completed the shape of your house, you've extruded the walls up, you've given it some windows and a door, and you've hopefully applied your materials to the inside. I would say that for week one, that will probably take you about a period's worth of time to do properly. You can obviously add on other rooms as you wish, but I'll leave that up to you really. And the next tutorial will go on to explain how you would start placing different items of furniture and editing them on the inside. So, best of luck.